Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so today we're reading from 8th canto. Creation? What is 8th canto? I'm trying to remember. Withdrawal, the cosmic creation. That's right. Chapter 7, Lord Shiva saves the universe. Text. So I'm just gonna quickly read the Sanskrit and translation for 43. I was told that's not read yesterday. And then we'll do the Sanskrit for 44, the word for word, etc. I'm just gonna get more light because my eyesight's very poor. So 43 is Tasyapi darshayan Asha Svar Viryan Jala Kalmasaha Yachakara Gale Nilam Tachcha Sador Vibhishanam. Translation: as if in defamation, the poison born from the ocean of milk manifested its potency by marking Lord Shiva's neck with a bluish line. This line, however, is now accepted as an ornament of the Lord. Text 44. So we have this on the board?
Yes.
Tapyante lokatapaena.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Sadhava prayasho janaha.
Sadhava prayasho jana.
Paramaradhanam taddi.
Paramaradhanam dadhi.
Purushasya kilatmanaha.
Purushasya kilatmana.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Sadhava prayasho janaha.
Sadhava prayasho jana.
Paramaradhanam taddi.
Paramaradhanam dadhi.
Purushasya kilatmanaha.
Purushasya kilatmana.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Sadhava prayasho janaha.
Sadhava prayasho jana.
Paramaradhanam taddi.
Paramaradhanam tadhi.
Purushasya kilatmanaha.
Purushasya kilatmana.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Sadhava prayasho janaha.
Sadhava prayasho jana.
Paramaradhanam taddi.
Paramaradhanam tadhi.
Purushasya kilatmanaha.
Purushasya kilatmana.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Tapyante lokatapena.
Sadhava prayasho janaha.
Sadhava prayasho jana.
Paramaradhanam taddi.
Paramaradhanam tadhi.
Purushasya kilatmanaha.
Purushasya kilatmana.
Any more? Tapyante,
Tapyante.
voluntary suffering.
Voluntary suffering.
Lokatapena,
Lokatapena.
because of the suffering
Because of the suffering
of people in general.
of people in general.
Sadhava,
Sadhava.
saintly persons.
Saintly persons.
Prayasha,
Prayasha.
almost always.
Almost always.
Jana,
Jana.
such persons.
Such persons.
Parama,
Parama.
aradhanam,
Aradhanam.
the topmost method of worshipping.
The topmost method of worshipping.
Tat,
That
activity.
that activity.
He,
He
indeed.
indeed.
Purushaya,
Purushasya.
of the Supreme Person.
Of the Supreme Person.
Akila,
Akila.
Atmanaha,
Atmana.
who is the super soul of everyone.
Who is the super soul of everyone.
So, okay, first, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Rao Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
So today's verse is incredible. I just want you to know, for those who are going out in Sankirtan today, I probably will not be, I apologize, I'm in Maya, but for those who are going out in Sankirtan today, hear this verse and meditate on this verse for the day, maybe for the marathon, maybe for your life. This is an incredible verse, okay? And I've heard devotees who do Sankirtan meditate on this consciousness. Devotees who have been doing Sankirtan for about 30, 40 years, I know some that have been, they meditate on this quality. That we're going, not this verse, but this quality that we're going to hear about. Okay. It is said, here we go, I don't know how we're going to talk on this. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. I don't know what higher suffering there is in Kali Yuga, what higher form of austerity there is than to do book distribution. To go out on the street and talk to people who don't want to talk to you, who don't care about spiritual life, who don't read, and try and give them Krishna. When we could stay here in the warm temple, chant our rounds, do kirtan like we had this morning all day, but we voluntarily leave, go out into the cold to try and connect to people who don't want us, to give them what we know they need. That's the highest form of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. Okay, let's see what Prabhupada says about this. Purport. Here is an explanation of how those engaged in activities for the welfare of others are very quickly recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18:68-69, Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidyasyati nachad tasma, he's condensed it, nachad tasman manusyeshu kaschin me priya krit tamaha. One who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees is most dear to me. No one can excel him in satisfying me by worship. There are different kinds of welfare activities in this material world, but the supreme welfare activity is the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Other welfare activities cannot be effective, for the laws of nature and the results of karma cannot be checked. It is by destiny or the laws of karma that one must suffer or enjoy. For instance, if one is given a court order, he must accept it, whether it brings him suffering or profit. Similarly, everyone is under obligations to karma and its reactions. No one can change this. Therefore, the Shastra says, Tasyaiva heto pariyate kovido nadlapyate brahmatan upadyabda. Bhagavatam 1:5-18. One should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe as a result of the reactions of karma. What is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord is pleased with him, what is left for him to achieve? If one has been recognized by the Lord, even if he does not ask the Lord for anything, the Lord, who is within everyone, supplies him whatever he wants. That's interesting, whatever he wants. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham nidyabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vaham yaham. Again, as stated here, tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayusho janaha. The best welfare activity is raising people to the platform of Krishna consciousness, since the conditioned souls are suffering only for want of Krishna consciousness. The Lord himself also comes to mitigate the suffering of humanity. Yada yada hi dhammasya glani bhavati bharata abhyuta nama dharmasyam tadatmanam shrijam yaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkitam dhammasam stapanapaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. Bhagavad Gita 4:7-8. All the Shastra conclude, therefore, that spreading the Krishna consciousness movement is the best welfare activity in the world. because of the ultimate benefit this bestows upon people in general. The Lord very quickly recognizes such service performed by a devotee. Om Jnana Tirmanandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam Kroti Vacham Pangam Nakaiti Yakripatam Hambande Shri Guru Dinatavanam. Translation, I think I can read. No. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. So Prabhupada brings up quite a few powerful points in the purport, and I'm going to try and be on time. So I'm just going to mention some things. I really apologize if I'm not sequential or linear in my thought process right now. I guess I'm still waking up. So, the first thing that comes to mind is something that I've heard Janananda Maharaj mention in a class recently and in previous classes, is comment by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that this world cannot be moved by the width of a hair. It is simply, it's the progression of this world, its course that it's running, cannot be adjusted. It cannot be changed. It is under the control of the Supreme.
Okay.
And therefore it is beyond our power to change the course of its direction. And the quote from memory is, he who thinks that he can change the world is in need, he who thinks he can reform the world is in need of reform. We are not able to control anything. In fact, even our own bodies, according to what I've read, it is not that I am actually moving my body. It is simply that I'm desiring the movement, and then Paramatma is actually what has control of the body. And so he allows my desire. He permits it. And so the jiva is actually unable to control matter. I'll try not to go down that road. That's a philosophical path I don't want to discuss right now. So we are not in control over the destination of this material universe. We are simply in control of our desires. And for the living entity, their desires dictate what actions they perform, and then from those actions produces karma. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those activities which decide your next body, that is karma. So we have been given this body. This body is the best that we have. There's nothing that, I can't suddenly grow hair without some sort of artificial process to allow it. I can't suddenly grow taller. As much as people do try and change their body mechanically or artificially, it's not actually within our control to do it just purely by desire. The desire was in the past. It was in the previous life. That desire created actions. And those actions created consequence, and this body is a consequence of those actions. And so, we have been very fortunate. Maharaj, could you please give your blessings on the class? No. If you need something, please just check. We've been very fortunate that in this lifetime, we have come in contact with a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. Okay. It is said, Prabhupada gave this analogy, that coming in contact with a pure devotee is like a turtle swimming in the Pacific Ocean. Now, how small is a turtle? They talk about giant turtles. Some of them, are quite large. But still, compared to the Pacific Ocean, how big is a turtle? So a turtle is not very big. The Pacific Ocean is so large. And so there is a turtle swimming in the Pacific Ocean, and it decides to come up to the surface. And as it's coming up to the surface, there is a piece of wood floating on top of the ocean. So the wood is floating here and the turtle is coming up. And then as the turtle is coming up, it pushes its head up to the surface, and there is a hole in the wood. And as the turtle comes up, it goes through that hole and looks around. Now, what are the chances of this happening? That the turtle and the wood would meet in the whole size of the Pacific Ocean, and the wood would have a hole, and the turtle would time itself perfectly to come through the hole. What are the odds of this? This is the odds of coming in contact with the pure devotee. It's so rare. It is so unique. Of all the billions of jivas, trillions, uncountable jivas, a jiva can come in contact with the pure devotee. So we've been given this very rare opportunity, very rare. And it seems like, oh, it must happen all the time. I mean, devotees are going out on book distribution. How many people are going out and hearing the holy name, or coming in contact with Prabhupada's books, or taking prasadam? But that's the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has made himself available. He's put himself into these books. He's inspired the devotees to go out on the street. This is his mercy, to make himself more available, to give an opportunity to people. And by some miracle of mercy and arrangement, we have taken the opportunity seriously. How rare this is. You know, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, of many, many people who try perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So of so many people who are offered the book, how many take? And then of so many who take, how many read? And then of so many who read, how many decide, you know, this is actually interesting. Let me find out more. Let me go to a temple. Let me ask some questions. So rare. So we have been given a very wonderful opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. And for some reason, we take it seriously. Obviously, we have our genuine motivations. But what I mean is, for some reason, is like by some mercy, we have the intelligence. By some mercy, we have the sincerity to take it seriously. And Prabhupada just asks a little return, a little payment for that mercy, a little offering in exchange for what we have received. Whatever you've been given, try and give that to others. That's what he's asking. Please, whatever you've been given, whatever you know, try and give that to others. Try and share it with somebody else. And the benefit that we have is that we don't really need to worry about whether or not other people take it. That's not in our control. We are not here to force people to take Krishna consciousness. We're not here, Jai Shri Radha Parsi Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhajamana Ki Jai, Shri Nidai Sachi Sudha Ki Jai. We are not here to try and make people become devotees. That's not within our control, even amongst each other. One thing that I think is very important is a program like the mentor program. You probably experience this in India. We have one in New Zealand, and I think it's almost vital to the Association of Krishna Consciousness, the mentor program. But there's one thing that my observation, and I think this is an observation we can make also for some people in management as well, is that as devotees, we sometimes think that our responsibility when we take on positions of authority, I'm going to put a caveat on this, but our responsibility is to actually make people Krishna conscious, to make people pure devotees. And as temple management or as mentors, that's actually not within our power. We are not making people Krishna conscious. The pure devotee, by their association and by their blessings, can assist someone to become Krishna conscious. But ultimately, it's Krishna himself who gives himself. The pure devotee, as a guru, takes on the responsibility to purify the disciple. by engaging them in service and by giving them transcendental knowledge and by giving them association. But we ourselves in our association, we're not trying to make each other pure devotees. What we're trying to do is actually just inspire each other to continue with the practice of Krishna consciousness. And so some devotees sometimes like get really aggressive with this idea like you have to get up from Mangalati or you have to, so many things. What we should be doing is inspiring each other, not trying to force each other, but inspire each other. And by being an example or by encouraging what we do see in others. In this way, we encourage each other to become Krishna conscious. We don't make offenses, we ourselves make more progress in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So our goal when inspiring other people, whether it be devotees or whether it be going out on the street and preaching, our goal is not actually to purify anybody else. Our goal is to purify ourselves. When we associate with the devotees, our motivation should be, I'm the one who needs purification. I'm the one who needs to come closer to Krishna. This devotee can help me. Let me serve this devotee. And if we're in a position of authority, how do we serve? Let me instruct this devotee. Let me explain them something as a service. Because I'm the one who needs purification. And I have an opportunity to assist this devotee. So allow me to assist this devotee. But if we go in there, kick the door down, shatter the bell over the ear, wake up, prabhu, maybe we're not going to be so inspiring. Maybe we're going to push people away from Krishna. And regardless of how sincere we might be, if Krishna sees that we're pushing people away from him, he's not going to be so satisfied. So our goal should be to try and bring people closer to Krishna. And the safest way to maintain that consciousness is to think that I'm the one who needs purification. Let me help other people come closer to Krishna. Dasa dasa anudas. Let me help bring other people to Krishna. And then someone of those people, one of those jivas, is going to approach Krishna and say, Krishna, thank you for bringing this devotee to help me. And Krishna will hear this. Oh, you have come to me because of this devotee? He has helped you, she has helped you. Let me give them my mercy also. That's ultimately the role of Radharani. What I heard from Indranuva Swami is that Radharani, she is so pleased with a person's service, she will approach Krishna and say, this jiva is pleasing you so nicely, they're serving you so nicely, they're serving you better than I. Who is that devotee that serves better than Radharani? But one of Radharani's qualities is that she's not envious. That's one of her 26 qualities, is that she's not envious. And actually, it's even mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion, specific pastimes that show her non-envious nature. So, Radharani observes another jiva's service and thinks, oh, this jiva can please Krishna so much, she will bring him closer to Krishna. So our goal is to inspire. And so we go out on the street not to sell books. Now, we do want to try and distribute the books. It's Lord Chaitanya has kindly given this transcendental philosophy of Vichinti Bheda Bheda Tattva, which is simultaneous oneness and difference. So, in one sense, our goal is not to sell books. But in another sense, we want to sell books. But our motivation for selling the books is not to become famous salesmen or to make so much money. Our motivation is to be of service and to do the best service we can, to try and distribute as many books as possible for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, for the pleasure of the devotees, to try and assist as many people as possible to come closer to Krishna. And the book score is an opportunity to show Krishna. So many people are inspired to come closer to you. Please give me a little mercy. I'm the one who needs your mercy. There's that song by Narottam Das Thakur, Patita Pavana Itu Tava Avatar Mosamba Patita Purnapu Aibara. That your incarnation is Patita Pavana. You're here to liberate the most fallen. And you'll find no one more fallen than me. That's Narottam Das Thakur saying. He is imbued with Prem Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya gave to Narottam Das Thakur his Prem Sankirtan. So how can he say that no one is more fallen than me? And yet that's the mood of the pure devotee. And therefore we should also have this mood. We are the ones that need purification. And to become purified, we have to become dear to Krishna. To become dear to Krishna, we have to go out and try and give Krishna to others, including going out into our own communities and giving Krishna to each other. It doesn't stop just once they move into the temple. It's not like there's a line, and once that cross the line, now I can speak however I want to speak to you. Now you have to listen to me. Now you have to do what I say. No, the line of inspiration is never crossed. We are always inspiring each other to try and come closer to Krishna. We go out on the street and we try and catch them. And then we bring them to the temple. And then we bring them into the ashram. And we're still continuing to try and inspire them, just as others have inspired us. And others are still inspiring us. Doesn't matter how seen you are. Like Srila Prabhupada, he had his inspiration. We were just hearing this morning, Prabhu, you were reading Srila Prabhupada's inspiration from his own spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You please go out and preach in this English language. And then he said, yes, now I can understand that this movement of Lord Chaitanya is in good hands. He felt inspired by his spiritual master. So our goal is inspiration. And the inspiration is that I'm the one that needs purification. I'm the one that needs my heart cleansed. I'm the one that needs to get the attention of Krishna. Not that I have it and then I can give it. And so it is about having the right consciousness. So I'm going to talk a little bit about consciousness right now. I want to just talk about the consciousness of Lord Shiva. Why? Okay, I'm not going to say why he's called the Vaishnava Tampachaku, why he's considered the topmost Vaishnava. I'm just going to talk about a quality of his, and that quality is part of Vaishnava consciousness, and perhaps the reason why he's the topmost Vaishnava. So, there is a state of consciousness, how we observe other people. Okay? And one state, a very negative state, is to look at a person and ignore all their good qualities and look for the fault. Look for whatever is the mistake that they make and inflate that. They get up early, they chant their rounds, they do puja for the deities, but they wear their socks on the altar. How dare they wear socks on the altar? You should never have stitched cloth on the altar. This is an aparad. They look for the smallest fault and they inflate it. Another kind of consciousness is to just ignore the good and look for the faults. So they don't inflate it, but they're just always pointing out, oh, this prabhu, he never gets up for Mangalarti. Oh, this prabhu, he chants his rounds so quickly or too slowly, or doesn't cut his hair, or doesn't put his tilak properly. Always something. But there's another level of consciousness. Another level of consciousness is to not see the negative, but to try and see the positive. So, regardless of what everybody says, they notice something. Oh, this devotee is very sincere, very hardworking, trying very hard. But Lord Shiva's consciousness is to ignore all the negative and look for the gold. Look for the smallest good quality and inflate it. He can associate with the most tamagun creatures. Have any of you been to like a bar after practicing Krishna consciousness? Drunk people, smelling, smoke, aggressive, shouting, so loud. Could you imagine being around ghouls and goblins and ghosts? So loud. Lord Shiva, he associates with these people because he looks for the smallest good equality, and he inflates it. He only sees that. He doesn't see the negative. So we need this consciousness. This is a Vaishnava consciousness. I mean, it's very easy in the spiritual world because there is no negative. So imagine you go to the spiritual world where there's only good and you inflate it. Why is it Anandam Buddhi Vardhana? It's because Krishna is always expanding, but the devotees are also expanding each other's good qualities. They're focusing only on how they can glorify the devotee. So they look for the smallest good. But in the spiritual world, it's very easy. It's not the smallest good. It's an ocean of bliss that they just try to increase. So we need to do this. We need to practice this. We need to look for each other. Because I know in the ashram, in the marathon, it's difficult. It's tough. There's friction that can happen. It's absolutely normal. It's perfectly understandable. We're tired from the end of the day. We're tired from Mangalati. We go out on the street. We work so hard. We deal with so many people. We come back to the ashram and, Prabhu has left his sleeping bag in the center of the room. Or, what I used to do sometimes, you go for the shower and you don't exactly cover up your kopans and your dhotis, and the devotees have to walk around it. It's not very nice. It's tough. But what we want to do is develop this consciousness of always looking for the smallest good and inflating it. And having that consciousness means that you'll never criticize the devotee. You'll never look for the negative. You'll always be consciously meditating on the positive. And if we can do that here in the ashram, then we can also do it when we go out on the street. And then every exchange becomes an opportunity to find someone's good quality. And then when you connect with that good quality, you inflate it, they become aware of it themselves. And they recognize that you can observe their good qualities. They start to observe your good qualities. And then there's a relationship. And in that relationship, you offer a book. How would you like, my good sir, you were so nice. What is it? Is it Bhaktivinoda Thakur or is it Srila Prabhupada who say that we should glorify them? You were so amazing, you were so nice, you're so wonderful. And with all your good qualities, please just take this book and improve your life. So we want to do that. We want to develop relationships by inflating people's good qualities. Don't be the fly who's looking for the stool. No. Don't be the horrible tamagun consciousness that's always looking for the negative. Be the bee that's looking for the flower. Be for the bee that's looking for the nectar. Look in the nectar of each individual devotee and on the street. Find their good quality. Connect to that good quality. And if you're on the street, offer them a book. And then when you come back to the ashram, always be meditating. What's the good qualities of the devotees? Maintain that consciousness. You'll always be in the association of the devotees. Lord Shiva is considered the highest Vaishnava. He has this quality. We want this quality. So, become dear to Krishna. There was something here in the purport. The Lord is automatically, I love this, the Lord is automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord is pleased with him, what is left for him to achieve? I'll just read the. If one tries to spread Christian consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased. Can you imagine that idea? Krishna is automatically very pleased. Because, sometimes, I think about this sometimes when I'm doing puja, or today I had to address the deities, and, I'm not very good at this service, I have to be honest. And they have to tolerate so much. Krishna has to tolerate my service so often. So he's doing this. He's looking what, he's looking for the little good in me, and then he's trying to inflate that. Okay, he took on some service today. It's very nice of him to take on some service. He's making so many mistakes, but they're tolerating, the deity's tolerating me. But this idea that Krishna doesn't have to tolerate, he's automatically pleased. Imagine that. Krishna is automatically pleased with one who is trying to distribute his knowledge all over the world. Automatically pleased. How incredible is that? So, become dear to Krishna, pleasing to Krishna, and make your life perfect, but maintain good consciousness. If you want to stay in Krishna consciousness, if you want to stay in the association with devotees, because we need the association of devotees in order to become dear to Krishna. So, become dear to Krishna with good consciousness. Sorry, it was a little bit all over the place. Omega class today, I apologize. Are there any comments or corrections? Anyone would like to share their realizations from Sankirtan or becoming good dear to Krishna? You're all performing wonderful services. Yes, Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the very nice class, actually, very inspiring. I have one question concerning mentorship. You mentioned
Oh, mentor, yeah.
And actually, I think that what is lacking in the French yatra, that we don't have any mentor to help us. Do you have maybe some idea, something to say about it, how we can create that in French?
Sure. So, the practical details are not an immediate process. I know because when I came to France in 2018, I was like discussing with Jananda Maharaj before I came, and I was like, okay, we can do this, and we can do this, and we can start mentoring. And Jananda Maharaj was like, where are the devotees who are going to be doing the mentoring? And so he said to me, you have to be patient. You have to do things at the right time, in the right way, the right consciousness, and not think that, because I was coming from New Zealand. New Zealand has had 20 years more now. At that time it was 20 years, so it was like 25 years now, of like dedicated preaching community. But it had to start somewhere. And so in one sense, it's often about taking the information where it can come from. But really, if something is going to start, it just needs to be started by the devotees who are here. Eventually someone's going to have to take on that service. Is now the time? We have to wait and see. It really should come under direction from senior devotees. It's not something that we can just impose. And it also needs to have consistency, not like devotees like me who come in and out. It's a great challenge that I come and then I leave. What you need is stability. Right now in France, the key focus is establishing stability. And then once you have a strong foundation, then you can build. And to be honest, Doan Natai can remember Paris, and probably remembers the French Yatra from like 5 years ago, how much more unstable it was. So how it is now is like heavenly planet. But definitely there's always room for growth, there's room for improvement. So we should pray that this stability will continue more and more. And once we have like strong stability, found a strong foundation, then we can build more and more and more. Until eventually we get to a point where everything just happens automatically because it's so well structured. I hope that's satisfies.
Yeah.
It's not really a direct answer, I know, but
But yeah, I see where you want to.
Maybe I can add something.
please.
I think if we develop the right consciousness, mentor will come.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be, because Krishna, he can send mentor to
Mhm.
anyone who want a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is not to cry that there is no mentor, but that I'm not qualified for now to have a mentor.
Mm.
Because if I'm right consciousness, any devotee I see around me is a mentor for me.
This is a really important point, actually, because at the end of the day, it's us who need to become qualified first, and because Krishna's there, you know, Krishna's just waiting for us to notice him. You know, he comes as the deity, he comes as the holy name, he comes as his books, he comes as prasadam, he comes as a pure. Everyone know that joke about the religious person who said, "God will save me"? And
Yes.
you-
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'll just quickly summarize. A religious person goes on a trip and they pray to God, "Please protect me on the trip." And as they're walking, I'll just describe it like this: they're walking on a road that's over a cliff. The road breaks and they start to fall, and they're sort of holding onto a rock just before they fall. And as they're holding there, another person walks past and says, "Give me your hand." And the person says, "No, no, no, no. I prayed to God. God will save me." Okay, and so they leave. And then underneath there are people there, they start preparing. "We can catch you, let go." They say, "No, no, 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 God will save me." And so they, okay, and they left. And then you can go extreme. A helicopter goes past, and the helicopter's like, "We can get you." I'm like, "No, no, 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 I pray to God, God will save me." And so the helicopter leaves, and finally he falls and dies. And then he goes up to heaven, and he speaks to God. He's like, "God, I prayed to you, and you didn't save me. Why didn't you save me?" God's like, "I sent a guy on the cliff, I sent a guy on the ground, I sent a helicopter. You didn't take it." So Krishna comes as everything. He comes as the deity, he comes as a holy name, he comes as prasadam, he comes as a pure devotee, comes in his books. Are we taking it? No. And so yes, any devotee can be a mentor. We just need to take it. It takes humility, but that's a different topic. Bhagavad Gita chapter 13. Text 8 to 12. Read that, become qualified. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Marathon ki jai, all glories to you, Sankirtan services.